A lot has changed in the car business in a very brief period of time, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why I do believe or do not believe that the car market is on a massive decline. What's up, guys? Mitchell Watts with Town & Country TV. In today's video, we're going to talk about everything about the car market. There is zero script for this video. I'm going to be shooting from the hip and from the heart. I'm going to give you a car dealer's perspective on exactly what is going on in the actual car business. Now, if you didn't know, Town & Country Ford, TC Customs, as you can tell over here, that is our business. We are a car dealership located in Bessemer in Pell City, Alabama. The reason I tell you that is not to sell you anything, because this channel never really is, but it's to give you proof that we actually know what we're talking about and we have that insider scoop, and we are happy to give that information along to you in this video. So first off, let's take a little bit of a trip down memory lane and catch us up to where we are today. So if you guys have not been aware, there was a microchip shortage for a long period of time. It started back in 2020, really maybe even 2019, when COVID first started scaring the mess out of everybody. Everybody got really worried, freaked out, that kind of thing. And so the car makers were like, well, we don't know what's going to happen to the business. We need to tell all these suppliers that we can't build these cars because nobody's going to buy them because COVID. And so what happened is everybody canceled their orders for a lot of different microchips and a lot of different things that are needed in the supply chain. And then what happened at the exact same time, everybody went to social distancing and needed extra devices, extra computers, iPads, things that were needed for work at home type of environments. All of those needed microchips. And so what happened is a lot of these microchip providers, they had a crazy good business model in the middle of COVID, and it basically boiled down to where they couldn't even keep up with the demand of normal computer devices, much less these microchips in these legacy type of vehicles in a Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota, all of those kinds of things. So a long story short is basically we had a short little dip in sales. They canceled all of the orders. Then people got a whole lot of stimulus money and the economy continued to boom. And for a lot of different reasons, people were still spending money on vehicles. And so you had a severe supply shortage and you had a massive level of demand. It caused some crazy pricing on a lot of different vehicles. Now, I understand what you guys are probably thinking in the comments is dealers are bad. How dare they charge way over MSRP? And I pseudo kind of agree with that statement. Way back in July 13th of 2020, we promised all of our Bronco orders were going to be sold at MSRP, and we actually held true to our words. So if you order a vehicle and you're expecting to pay MSRP, by golly, that dealership should honor MSRP pricing. However, if there is a vehicle that's available, it's simple supply and demand. And the analogy that I've used in the past is if I've got a house for sale and that house is for sale, let's say Zillow thinks it's worth $400,000, but I've gotten 18 different offers all at $500,000. I'm not going to reduce my price just because Zillow thinks it's worth less. That is just an opinion of value. So I just kind of want to point that out there. I do think a lot of dealerships got very greedy, very frustrating, and screwed a lot of different customers, and those dealerships may not last through this next downturn that we're about to have, as far as the economy is concerned or as far as the car market in general is concerned. So long story short, that is kind of how we got to the situation that we're at today. Now that we've had a few years pass by, you have a lot of people that might be wanting to trade their vehicle in that they bought in 21 or 22, and they're wanting to get into a vehicle now. Now their values have started to kind of correct themselves because a lot of manufacturers are starting to catch up with production. For instance, F-150s. We have more F-150s in stock right now than pretty much anybody else in the state of Alabama. And so we're obviously discounting those very heavily to get those vehicles moved. And, you know, you still have things like the Bronco where you still can't even place an order for one at the current moment. But I'm just talking about the normal vehicle that Ford or really Toyota or Chevrolet is actually producing. And so now that we've got this weird dichotomy where we now have brand new vehicles where we're discounting them to selling them, and you have the guy that might have paid 5 or 10 grand over sticker just a year or two ago, that can seriously be a big deficit in a lot of different situations. So what do I think is going to happen with the car market? Do I think it's going to absolutely crash and implode on itself? No, I don't. But I do think that if you overpaid a year or two, you might get yourself into a weird situation. Now, let's talk a little bit more about pricing and things like that. Not just Ford, but also Tesla and a lot of other companies have altered their pricing on a lot of different vehicles. For instance, the Tesla Model 3 used to have an MSRP up here, and then overnight, Elon Musk dropped the price on all of those different vehicles. Now, I know what he's doing. He's actually a really smart guy. He's figured out that, okay, if I reduce the price, it'll get that vehicle underneath the new IRA federal tax credit, and it will increase the number of people that will buy my product drastically. Smart move, right? Well, guess what? Ford has done the exact same thing in a lot of situations. Like the XLT extended range. Now they've reduced the price of that vehicle to make sure that it meets that $80,000 cap for SUVs and pickup trucks. And so they realize that, okay, if we can hit that target, now everybody is going to be winning in that regard. Same thing with the Mustang Mach-E. They've reduced the price on a lot of those different vehicles, as well as the floodgates are now starting to open, where Ford and all these other manufacturers are finally able to produce them at the current demand rate, which is going to cause a big correction in the pricing for people that bought a year or two ago. Now let's talk about interest rates and how those affect an actual customer's payment, because most people that are buying vehicles are doing so on a payment program of some sort, whether it's a 60-month or 72-month basis. So let's use that $80,000 mark that we were just talking about, the F-150. So if I plug into my calculator $80,000 and you multiply that by the change in interest rate, whereas if someone used to be able to get a 2% interest rate and now is getting a 7% interest rate, which is not far off from what we're currently dealing with, that's a 5% interest rate change. Let's use that for easy math for this good old boy from Alabama. So basically, if we take that $80,000 purchase price, multiply that by the 5% interest rate change, that's $4,000 a year more in just interest. And if you divide that by the 12 months that you'll have to be doing, you're talking about a $333 per month change based on the interest alone. So you have a couple of different things. You have the change in valuations, you have the interest rate. It can get kind of crazy if you are going to be financing this vehicle, or if you're overextending yourself when it comes to purchasing a vehicle. Okay, so is this a terrible time to buy a vehicle? I would argue no, it's not a terrible time to buy a vehicle. What I would tell you though, it's probably not the best time if you're overextended, which, by the way, if you're overextended, you probably shouldn't be buying a vehicle anyways. I feel wrong saying that. I feel like I'm being insensitive. I promise you I'm not. It's just that you might need to scale it back a little bit on the vehicle you're selecting if you are already overextended on your monthly budget. So who do I think this market is really for? If you are that person who is patient, that is diligent with their finances, and really, if you've been saving up, now actually is a good time to buy, because you can finally start to get discounts on vehicles that are not in high demand, such as the Bronco or the Super Duty and things like that. So if you're wanting to buy an F-150, this is probably the best time, not probably, this is the best time to buy an F-150 since 2019, since we've actually had levels of inventory and discounts to go with that. In fact, Ford is finally starting to put things like trade-in assistance on their vehicles. You've got 0% financing on, certain term limits, obviously, but the fact that they're even bringing this up tells you it's a good time to buy if you're not financially overextended. Now, I am not trying to sell you anything in this video. Yes, we're a Ford dealership, but I don't give a rip if you guys come to us to buy an F-150 or go to someone else. My job is just to help you, and I realize that if I can help enough people, I'll never have to worry about money. So please don't mistake it. This video is not a sales pitch. It's just I'm trying to learn you something, as we say in Alabama. So overall, I do believe now is a decent time to buy if you are ready. But then again, if you're not ready, never is a good time to buy your vehicle. You shouldn't buy a vehicle if you are not ready. But I will tell you, if you're ready, now is a great time. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this type of a content, do me a favor and let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Thanks so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Peace.